story called Scaredy Squirrel by Melanie Watt. Have you ever been scared? What have you been scared of? Think of some things that scare you. Got them in your head? Let's go find out about Scaredy Squirrel and see what he's scared of. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so I can see. Oh, Scaredy Squirrel wants us to, look, there's a warning. He wants us to be safe. Let's see. Scaredy Squirrel insists that everyone wash their hands with antibacterial soap before reading this book. Are your hands clean? Okay, and you need soap. So pause the video if you need to, and then run wash your hands because Scaredy Squirrel wants us to. Come back, we'll restart the book. I'll wait. Okay, are your hands clean? Good, let's start our story. Scaredy Squirrel never leaves his nut tree. This is the tree that he lives in. Look at all those nuts up there in this nut tree. If I were a squirrel, I don't think I'd leave there either. He's got lots to eat. Oh, but this is why he's never leaving. Look, this is the unknown. It says here, he would rather stay in his safe and familiar tree than risk venturing out into the unknown. The unknown can be a scary place for a squirrel. He doesn't know what's out there, so he wants to stay where he is. Oh, but I'm looking at this picture. There's so much out there that looks so pretty. I don't know if I could be a scaredy squirrel. I'd have to go check it out. Look, a few things Scaredy Squirrel is afraid of. These are things that he doesn't like. Green Martians, killer bees, tarantulas, poison ivy, germs, sharks. Now I'm wondering, which one of these things do you think that we have to be worried about in Virginia? Let's stop and think. Have you ever seen a green Martian? I haven't either. So I don't think we have any green Martians in Virginia. Killer bees. Now, you know what? I used to live in Florida a long time ago. And there were some bees down there that they called killer bees. But you know what? They didn't really bother people. They're just great big bees. But if you are allergic to bees, be careful because it doesn't take a killer bee to make you really sick. So let's not play with bees. Tarantulas. We don't have any tarantulas in Virginia. Now we do have some big spiders, but we don't have any tarantulas. We talked about spiders a couple weeks ago. We are not going to mess around with spiders. They're fun to look at. They're really cool, but we're not going to touch a spider. Poison ivy. Now that's something we do have to think about here in Virginia. And sometimes poison ivy likes to kind of play jokes on you, and it kind of disguises itself, like at Halloween time when we put on costumes. Sometimes poison ivy can look like other plants. So you do have to be careful with poison ivy. If you go out into the woods, places like that, old trees, don't want to climb up an old tree that's got a whole bunch of vines covering it because you just don't know. Germs. I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you're never going to escape germs. Everybody's got germs. Germs might be good or might be bad, but everybody's got some germs. And sharks, nope, we don't have any sharks in Virginia, so we don't have to worry about that. Here's Scaredy Squirrel. He's perfectly happy to stay right where he is. All right, well, look, they've got a chart here. On this side of the page, we have advantages of never leaving the nut tree. Those are good things, good reasons to stay right there in the nut tree. On this side, we have disadvantages of never leaving the nut tree. Those are bad things, bad reasons to stay. All right, so the good things about staying in the nut tree, you have a great view, plenty of nuts, a safe place, and none of that other stuff that he's scared of. The disadvantages, same old view, same old nuts, same old place. And this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. How boring. In Scaredy Squirrel's nut tree, every day is the same. Everything is predictable. All is under control. Here is Scaredy Squirrel's daily routine. He wakes up at 6:45. He eats a nut at 7 o'clock. At 7:15, he goes and looks at the view. At 12 o'clock, he eats a nut. 12:30, he looks at the view. 5 o'clock, he eats a nut. 5:31, he looks at the view. And at 8 o'clock p.m., he goes to sleep. So boring. But let's say, just for example, that something unexpected did happen. You can rest assured that this squirrel is prepared. Look, he's got a first aid kit. A few items in Scaredy Squirrel's emergency kit. Hard hat, antibacterial soap, calamine lotion, a parachute, bug spray, mask and rubber gloves, a net, a Band-Aid, sardines. Wonder what he would use these things for. Why would he need a hard hat in his emergency kit? Remember where he lives. Oh yes, he lives in the tree. What could fall on him in the tree? Yes, the nut. Now, you know what? I have an antibacterial soap too. I like to keep those germs off of me. Calamine nut lotion is a nice thing to put on you if you've got that itchy skin from poison ivy. A parachute is going to help you get out of that tree, and bug spray might keep all those killer bees away. Now you could use that net to catch that Martian maybe that he was scared of. And a Band-Aid, of course. I've got Band-Aids too. They go on TV. And sardines. No, I don't know if squirrels eat sardines or not, but maybe that's his extra emergency food supply. So, what to do in case of an emergency according to Scaredy Squirrel? Step 1, panic. Step 2, run. Step 3, get kit. Step 4, put on kit. Step 5, consult exit plan. Step 6, exit tree. And look at this teeny tiny little wording. If there is absolutely, definitely, truly no other option. So look, here's his emergency plan. I guess the parachute is to help him get out of the tree. Exit 1, note to self, watch out for green Martians and killer bees in the sky. Exit 2, note to self, do not land in river. If avoidable, use sardines to distract the sharks. Ah, gotcha. That's what he's using the sardines for. It's not for him, it's to feed to the sharks so that they don't eat him. Exit 3, note to self, look out for poison ivy and for tarantulas roaming the ground. Exit 4, note to self, keep in mind that germs are everywhere. Remember, if all else fails, playing dead is always a good option. And here's Scaredy Squirrel, and look, he's looking all over the place. With his emergency kit in hand, Scaredy Squirrel watches. Day after day, he watches until one day, oh my goodness, look at his binoculars. What does he see? Thursday, it says, at 9:37 a.m., what does he see? Bees, yes. A killer bee appears. Scaredy Squirrel jumps in panic, knocks his emergency kit out of the tree. This was not part of the plan. He planned it all out, but it's not working like that. Scaredy Squirrel jumps to catch his kit. He quickly regrets this idea. The parachute is in the kit, but something incredible happens. What do you think is going to happen? Can you just close your eyes for a minute and picture him jumping out of that tree after his emergency kit? And what do you think is going to happen before he hits the ground? He starts to glide. Scaredy Squirrel is no ordinary squirrel. He's a flying squirrel. Did you even think about that? Have you ever seen a squirrel fly? Do you know that there are some squirrels who will just glide from tree to tree to tree? He feels overjoyed, adventurous, carefree, alive, until he lands in a bush. Scaredy Squirrel forgets all about the killer bee, not to mention the tarantulas, poison ivy, green Martians, germs, and sharks. And plays dead. 30 minutes later, 1 hour later, 2 hours later, finally, Scaredy Squirrel realizes that nothing horrible is happening in the unknown today. So he returns to his nut tree. All this excitement has inspired Scaredy Squirrel to make drastic changes in his life. And now let's see what happens with Scaredy Squirrel. Scaredy Squirrel's new and improved daily routine. And look at his smile on his face. At 6:45, he wakes up. At 7 o'clock, he eats a nut. At 7:15, he looks at the view. And at 9:37, he jumps into the unknown. At 9:45, he plays dead. At 11:45, he returns home. At 12 o'clock, he eats a nut. At 12:30, he looks at the view. At 5 o'clock, he eats a nut. At 5:31, he looks at the view. And at 8 o'clock, he goes to sleep. So he does get out of his tree at least once a day. And look, there's some poison ivy. See this right here? It's pointing to the sleep. It says poison ivy. P.S. As for the emergency kit, Scaredy Squirrel is in no hurry to pick it up just yet. You know why? Look where his kit landed. What is this? I just told you. Yep, that's the poison ivy. And he doesn't want to go over there and get his kit because he doesn't want to get into the poison ivy. Look, the end. He's going back under the bush.